Hey guys, it's Bus, developed the Athena mod. Just want to take a couple minutes here to go over something new that's going to be coming out here very shortly. It's the initial version of what will be known as Athena AAR. So Athena AAR is basically going to be the server logging component of Athena. I don't know how many of you guys know this, but Athena has the ability to record your session and then to play it back at a later time. But through the Athena app, you only get to record what you see. The Athena AAR is actually taking place on the server, so it will see everything. It will see all sides. It will see blue for, op for, independent, civilian, whatever. The only limitation to it is that it won't see all markers, just with the way that it works on the server. The server will only see the markers created in the editor via script commands that are executed on the server, and any markers that are created in global won't collect markers made on side or group, by players. So I mean that's something to be aware of. But anyway, so yeah, Athena AAR is basically the Athena server mod, and the actual mod name is Athena server. But it's also more than that. I mean, the Athena server mod generates the data, it collects it from ARMA and then exports it. But you need something to go ahead and actually collect that data, and that's where the other component to Athena AAR comes in. That component is the logger. So the logger is a utility that basically is very functionally similar to the Athena desktop, except it doesn't display a location in real time on a map. It has none of those functions, but it can communicate with the relay, and it can parse the information that comes out of it, and it can save it in a format that is compatible with the Athena desktop application. So that's what the Athena logger actually does, or its purpose, really. But there's a couple of features to it that I wanted to go over really quick that you guys should be aware of. So basically, the Athena logger, when you open it up, and it's going to come as part of the Athena AAR package, which I'm going to publish to the Steam Workshop here very shortly. When you fire it up on your server, and the Athena AAR solution is specifically meant for servers. The reason I put it on the workshop is to make it easy for people that manage their servers and they use the Steam command to download workshop mods. So I figured they could just use that to pull down the whole package and basically have it installed automatically. And the Athena AR solution, it uses many of the same components as Athena desktop. So if we look in the actual guts of it, you can see that the extensions are there, the relay is there, and these are identical in function of the ones that are distributed with the normal Athena mod. So if that mod is BattleEye whitelisted, this is automatically BattleEye whitelisted. So I mean, I don't think, no, BattleEye can't do it. They don't whitelist based on paths or anything like that. So all the functionality is basically the same. I mean, if we run into problems, the debug configurations are all the same. The same thing for the relay. If you need to run the relay, like say you run multiple servers on one host and you're going to run multiple instances of the relay, well, they can't all share the same ports. You're going to need to change the port that the relay for that particular server runs on. But that brings us back in the logger here. So if you're going to be collecting recordings of your ops or whatever you got going on, you're going to want to make sure that you point the logger to the correct IP or host name, and that would be your ARMA 3 server that you're running, or the IP address or host name of the ARMA 3 server that you got going on. And then the port for the relay. Like I said, if you have multiple servers running off the same host, you're going to want to make sure that you configure them, the relays, to run on different ports. Okay, and again, you would configure that in the relay exe config file right there. Okay. The temp folder and the archive folder, we'll get to what those do in a little bit. I mean, the archive I can't talk. The archive folder is basically where the recordings are going to be stored. The temp folder is where the working data is going to be stored while the missions are running. Once the mission stops, or after 4 hours, as some of you guys have missions that run forever. You don't want to record all that data and then, unlike after a week when the mission's over, dump that. You want to have smaller segments. So either after 4 hours or after a mission end, it's going to grab that data, package it, and store it in the archive folder. So that's what that does. The capture interval is, the way that the Athena and Athena server mods work. What they do is they, as fast as they can, and as often as they can, they collect data, through various scripts. They collect data, package it, and send it out to the relay. So this happens over and over again. It's the actual hook is, the each frame event hook. So it's doing this as often and as fast as it can. But, let's say things are exporting at 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second. You don't necessarily need to record all that and store it. I mean, imagine in the future when you have 500 recordings, if you have 30 frames per second worth of data, that's going to take up quite a bit of disk space. So this capture interval configured in the logger allows you to say, I don't need all of that data, just grab 1 per second, or grab 5 per second, or grab, 1 every 0.5 seconds. Whatever you want to do is configurable. It's up to you. I mean, you can grab everything if you absolutely want to. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can. So that's what the capture interval is. It's allowing you to have some control over reducing your disk space usage versus how fluid your replays are going to appear. The Athena desktop, when you go to play it back, it allows you to play it up to 4 times speed. So 4 times speed in a replay, it's actually pretty good. It looks, kind of fluid. It's obviously not as fluid as the real-time stuff, but you don't need it to be perfect for a debrief or an AAR or just a playback. You get the idea. So the capture delay is another little feature that I actually just did. So, a lot of you guys out there, you have in-game briefings or you have safe starts, and during that time, nothing's going on, So let's say those things last 10, 15, 20 minutes, Why collect 20 minutes worth of guys just standing around? It's not worth it. So if you put in a capture delay of 20 minutes, what will happen is every time the logger detects that a mission has started, it will just not record data for 20 minutes, or until after 20 minutes it will start recording data. So it's kind of like a delay before when it starts capturing, hence capture delay. You don't have to have that, you can leave that at 0, and then as soon as it detects a mission starting, it will just start to capture. But like I said, for you guys with your your in-game briefings and your safe starts, you guys with that stuff, you're going to want to use the capture delay to go ahead and automatically do that. There is a more advanced option, and that's if you set this to -1. If you set this to -1, it disables the capture delay completely. Now, you might think, well, if I want to turn it off, I can just do 0, and that's true. But if you do 0, it's going to start capture automatically. If you do -1, it will not do anything. Okay? It'll say, hey, a mission started, fantastic, but I'm not collecting any data. In order to get it to start capturing, you have to use these 2 commands that are up here. Okay? And these commands would have to be executed on the server. So basically what happens is when you use this command, it sends out a message to the relay, through the ARM 3 scripting system, to start recording. Okay? And when you want to stop recording, you can put out another message, put out a message that says stop recording. Now this might seem weird. I mean, I know you guys might be like, hey, what is with this format here? The format is a little odd. This is technically the direction of the data. This is technically the data, and this is the data type. So the subject is recording, and the action is start and stop. It's a little weird how it's organized, but whatever. It's my extension, and it works, so we're going with it. So you might think, why would I do that? What's the purpose of that? Well, some of you guys have scripts that handle things. Like I know Friday Night Fights, they have safe start scripts. All right, and their safe starts are managed via in-game commands. The admin can end the safe start prematurely. They can extend it. They can do all sorts of things. If that happens, if the mission is started prematurely or if it goes late, your capture delay isn't going to be the best. It's either going to miss something or it's going to, collect too much. Think of like your DVRs, when you set a time on it. A lot of us will have our DVR start early and then late, just so we don't miss anything. Imagine if you had the opportunity to, have your DVR key off of something. You know what I mean? So this is the way that we can have it key. Okay? So if you have a script that manages when your safe start expires and gameplay starts, well, just tack this little command in your script somewhere. Okay? And it will automatically guarantee that the logger the logger will start when it's supposed to start, and it'll capture the data that it's supposed to capture. Additionally, at the end of the mission, okay, you're going to want to call this, because what this is going to do is going to stop the logger from collecting any more data. Now, you might think, well, the mission's over. Isn't it going to stop anyway? No, because the way that these things work, and this isn't, Athena. This is just, or at least the way it appears to work in general. When a mission ends on a server, the server still actually is executing scripts. Okay, so Athena is still running. It's still generating data, and it's still sending it to the logger. And the logger has no way of saying or knowing that the mission's ended for all the players, but the server is still running it. So what will end up happening is, like, let's say you end a mission, and everybody goes back to briefing, or not briefing, but everybody just ends. They wait for another mission to get selected. You guys are, all chatting in between missions. It's great. Hey, it's a great time. Hi, I killed you. Whatever. The logger's still collecting packets. It's still collecting data. Still collecting frames. So what you'll end up with in that recording is a whole bunch of action and then 10 minutes of nothing. So for you guys and you groups that have scripters that will write an end script, okay, make sure that script gets executed on the server, and then use this command to stop the logger from recording. Okay? All this really will do is help you to trim your recording sizes and get them to be only what you really need them to be. So yeah, that's what that does. Okay? So if you set that to -1, these scripting commands will be used. Now also just to let you know when a mission ends, okay, it will obviously stop recording because the mission's over. Now the way it knows that a mission is over is because another mission has started. Okay? So, that's where your recordings will always end. But when a mission ends, and if capture delay is -1, you still have to manually trigger the start recording on the next mission. Okay, so it's not like, let's say you guys have an event, and you're going to have like 4 or 5 missions. It's not like you hit start recording on your first mission, and it's going to continue to record until the end of the night. You're going to have to start recording manually when capture delay is -1 for each mission. Okay, just to let you know that. So yeah, that's basically the Athena logger. So, let's set this here and hit start. Okay, so we've connected. I already have a Arma 3 server running on localhost, and the relay for it is listed at 28800. And you can see that it's collecting data. So you can see the last update was now. You can see that it's actually capturing data. And you can see this pending frames things. Now this pending frame counter, this isn't this isn't the total amount of frames that's captured. It's the total amount of frames that's captured since the last time it wrote those frames to disk. Okay, now we get, we're capturing a frame a second. I don't want to write each frame to disk on its own, so I just pool them up. Okay, now by default it's going to package them when it's been longer than a minute or when there's 60 frames. It does this because it doesn't want to accumulate all that data in memory. I try to keep the memory usage low. So that's a counter of how many frames are waiting to be written to disk. You're going to see in a second, it's going to empty that pending frame queue, and you're going to see that the timer ticked, and it saved the data. Okay? Additionally, down here you can see this little log. This will give you some little feedback about what's going on. If there's any errors, it'll write that here too. Next here, obviously, when we're getting the frames, we're evaluating them to see what's in them, and it'll try to display the mission name. Now, obviously, not all missions are named, but if it has a name, it'll be displayed here. The in-game time, and the total number of groups that is detected, the amount of units, vehicles, and markers. Okay, so this is really just information letting you know that it's able to parse the data that's received from the relay, and this is what it thinks it's in there. Okay, so it's a way for you server admins to say, okay, yeah, this is working. All right, now if we go and actually look at the folders inside of here, and these folders you have to create. Okay, when you fire up the logger for the first time, these 2 fields are blank. Okay, so all you have to do is create 2 folders and select them. All right, it's not much work. So anyway, if we look at the temp folder, we can see these JSON files being created. These are really just serialized .NET objects. Okay. So what's happening is it's storing these every 60 frames or every 1 minute, and when the mission ends, it's going to grab these and it's going to zip them up and store them in this archive folder here. Now, so you can consider these zip files to be, you know, one per mission or one per recording, and these packages can be grabbed and then replayed in Athena Desktop. So you can go to Athena Desktop, go to File, Open Recording, select one of these zips, and it will then replay it all for you. And you will see all the data. You'll see blue 4, off 4, whatever. Now, the only limitation to this solution right now is that, you know, this data is local to the server. You know, how do you distribute these files? There will eventually be a more elegant solution, but for right now, the solution is some server admin goes on here, and they either configure some sort of FTP server that you guys can allow your, you know, your people to, you know, log into and use, or you grab it and throw it in like OneDrive, Dropbox, or post it to your website, you know, for other people to download. You can do whatever you want to do for now. Eventually, when the ACS is a little more functional, this logger utility is going to allow you to publish it straight to your Athena community server, and then your Athena desktop users will be able to go to that Athena community server and pull down the replays. So it's going to be a little bit more integrated. Like I said, this is just version 1, so, you know, kind of bear with me here. So that's basically how it works. Some of you guys might wonder, you know, do I have to start this up and configure this every time? No, we thought about that too. And actually, it's a good point you mentioned somebody. I believe his name is Liquid Tracer from Nopril of Norway. They actually used this logger utility, I think in May or June, for their Summerland. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Nopril in Norway, but they're, you know, a great bunch of guys, and they're a funny crew. And they used this at their Summerland to record their sessions. And after they were done playing, they had a projector, and, you know, they used Athena to replay the recording. They used it for their debrief. It was pretty cool. They sent me some pictures and a video, and you know, it was definitely amazing. So you know, shout out to Nopril. So yeah, getting back to this, there is a way to get all this to start automatically. So let me stop this one here. I'm going to close it, and I'm going to go into the logger config file here. So there's a field here for auto start. All I have to do is change it to true. Okay, so now when the logger executable is executed, it's just going to pull this data out of here, these different settings. So the host address, the host port, the temp folder location, the archive folder, what your capture interval is, and what your capture start delay is. Okay, it's going to populate those fields, and it's going to automatically connect to the relay, and it's going to automatically start logging data. Okay, so now that we've done this, if I fire up the logger, you'll see all that actually happens automatically now. So for you guys that have, you know, something like, I don't know if FireDaemon is used anymore, but something like FireDaemon, where it monitors your process and automatically starts them up, you know, if they crash, you can use that to also launch the logger. Okay? And then, like I said, if you configure that config file properly, it will automatically connect to your server or relay and start populating or start collecting that data. So yeah, that's the logger. Let's see here. Maybe we can actually do something, and you guys can see how this thing works. So let me actually go into a game here on Arma. It's Halloween, and I've had a bunch of candy. Let's just pick this spot. So the idea behind all this is that, you know, I know there's a lot of demand out there for AAR, and I know there's other solutions, but I wanted a solution for Athena. I don't intend this to be the solution that everyone uses, because not everyone uses Athena, but for those people that do, you have this as a potential AAR option. So let me run around for a few minutes here, and I'll die a couple
Gamblers,
times.
you're clear to proceed. Good luck. Battle
maybe a
mage
little funny,
out.
and we'll just go from there. Oh, to the... Okay. You know, some people are like, oh, Athena's like a cheat thing. It's You're too good if you have Athena. It gives you an edge. I die more with Athena than I've ever died without it. I don't know what it is, but it hasn't made me into some Arma god or anything like that. You know, it's definitely like Trek IR. I don't think Trek IR makes me a better soldier, but I definitely feel like I'm more immersed. You know, and I think when I use Athena, I just feel like I'm more into the game for some reason. Like I know about what, you know, more about, or I'm more informed about what's going on. And I just feel like I'm just more into it, not, you know, I know how I fit into the bigger plan. And it just helps me to just get more into it. I think I'm getting right in the zone now. I should be dying any minute now. Come on. Where are you guys? Yeah, show you off my, show you guys all my elite skills here. Oh, I just heard him. Shh.
He's hit.
I never play King of the Hill or anything like that. I'm probably like the worst shot. I usually team kill too. You know, not intentionally. Is that sometimes when we play matches, we don't play with Athena, and you know, not too many of my buddies actually use it. And you know, we've been playing some sort of competitive environments, I guess you'd call them. And so we haven't really used it because, you know, some people just get nervous about it. You know, not everybody has a second monitor and everything like that. But so I never really get the chance to, you know, I don't know, shoot other players. I don't do that often. I usually spend most of my time just developing really and you know, stuff like that. So I never really get to actually play competitively and, you know, become like a great shot or anything like that. I mean, I watch some of these guys on YouTube or Twitch, and they're just amazing, the stuff that they pull off of me. Nah. I'm always amazed at these guys that are just instinctually tactical, like they know how to take advantage of little situations and stuff like that, and that's just something I never got. I mean, eventually after repetition you learn how the AI works and stuff like that. I mean, I always thought the key to AI was just move, you know, shoot and move, that way they can't get around you. And that's probably true in real life too, but you know, whatever. Well, anyway, let me just die. Oh my god, I lived. That was actually a pretty well thrown grenade too. I mean, it landed behind the guy, but you know, not bad for a blind throw, right? Oh, shit. I don't even know what the mission is. Gotta say, I do like this map though. Malden. It's pretty good. Actually, Malden 2035, I should say. Did I see movement there? This should get me killed. Ah! You gotta work for it. You gotta work for it. Where's he at? Alright, come on, hit me. Hit me. I'm just sitting here. Hit me. I can't give it to you. Oh, here's a contender. Come on, do it. Do it. Do it. Come on. Come on. Come Don't be shy. There we go. All right, cool. So I'm dead. The logger did collect that, so let's go ahead and let's go aboard here. You know what I should show you guys? So we have that copy here. Let me go ahead and switch this to, to where I manually control it. I can just show you real fast, that it works. I need to connect to that server. 1 second here. Oh, now everybody knows my password. I'm going to have to change it. Okay, so that's not the mission I want to run. My super secret test server. Oh, I didn't. Hold on, guys. I'm going to have to block you out here for a second. Sorry, I don't record ever, really. I mean, I use my cell phone for the last few recordings. So let me just blank out. Boom. There we go. Okay. Alright, yeah, here we go. Okay. Welcome back. Alright, so I'm going to load up my little test mission I got going here. And it's quite ingeniously called test recording. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but when I'm testing, I like to just hop in a Prowler and drive around. The Prowler is just awesome. It goes over everything. It's amazing. So anyway, take a look at... I'm going to have to move my window around here real quick. So keep an eye on this false thing here. Okay. Notice because I set -1 and we started, the capturing is false. Okay. Now in this mission, I have a couple of triggers. Okay. Now obviously, I'm going to be executing these triggers from my client, really. But I've configured the triggers to only run on the server. So this does happen on the server. It does trigger these commands to happen on the server. So they're just a couple of radio little triggers. Okay. I have to start capturing. And if you look in the logger, you can see it's capturing true and it's actually collecting frames. Okay, so now I'm going to hit my second trigger, which executes that second stop command, and it's capturing false. So you can see there's the in-game scripting control over the capturing. I just wanted to demonstrate really quickly that actually worked. So yeah, let's exit out of Armor here. And let's stop this thing from collecting. Now I'm going to grab this archive here that we created here. And you can see the file size is going to be a little bit bigger. It's going to be 315. Now, I've got other ones, but that's the one we really care about here. And I'm going to transfer the file over to my computer here. And I'm going to download it just to my desktop. Alright, so now let me grab Athena here. And I'm going to actually make the actual Athena window here full screen, so just kind of bear with me here. And let's make it a little bit bigger. And I'm going to show the flyout, just because I like to do that. And let's make the window... God, I hate this. Okay, so now that's a little bit bigger. Okay, so I'm going to stop this, and I'm going to open the recording. And now you can't see the menus, but for some reason OBS isn't capturing that. But so I'm going to File, I'm going to Open Recording, and the Load Recording dialog boxes come up. So I'm going to go to Browse, and I'm going to select my zip file here. And then I'm going to hit OK. Whoa. Oh, okay, so this was the spot in the mission. I don't know if you guys remembered or not. But there's a spot in this mission on Malden 2035 where it has these things where you pick these different, the zone that you want to start in. So that's what this section is. Let me make this a little bit bigger because I want to show you guys some of the stuff. And let me increase the size of... No? No? Okay, here we go. Yeah, okay. Alright, good. Okay, so anyway, we got different controls here. So you can see we have, the normal following player stuff, the play, follow, pause, and we've got these little controls down here. I'm not a huge fan of these playback controls. I kind of want to redo a little bit, maybe put like a little slider at the bottom, like a frame slider kind of thing. I don't know. I might re-engineer this, but this allows you to control, what frames you're looking at. And you can see here that it's captured 374 frames. Figure 1 per second. That's roughly what 6 minutes worth of data, 360 seconds. So we can go forward one at a time through here, and stuff will happen. I'm going to just right-click on this to make this the normal size. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed this, but if there's something you want to highlight, like a particular group, you can right-click on it a couple times, and it gets bigger. And if you right-click on it again, it just goes back to its normal size. So the right-click is just a way to toggle the size of that marker. In case you're flying or doing something and there's a particular group you want to follow, you can just go ahead and right-click on the group to make their icon bigger. Don't know how many of you guys knew that. So yeah, you can go through it one at a time like this. You can go back and go all the way to the end. You can also increase the playback speed. So let me go ahead and go to the first frame and hit play. So the playback speed by default is 1 frame per second. Okay, so you can increase that playback speed. You can increase up to 4 times. So it's going to try and play 4 frames per second. And that's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, now by default, the following feature doesn't really work too well in recordings that are initiated off of the Athena server mod, because by default, Athena will track the player. Now, obviously, we are not a player in this. We are playing back a recording, so there's no player to really follow. You can hit the drop down and select any one of the characters, or any one of the men, soldiers, whatever, units that are in the recording. But if you select, let's say, Bus, and then you follow him, when Bus dies, Bus will not be a unit in the game, right? If you have Respawn, he will come back, but he will have disappeared from this list momentarily, so he will have been deselected. So if you want to follow your character through a respawnable mission, just keep in mind that you might be following him, but you might lose him when they die. Okay? So my advice, don't follow. Just kind of, do it on your own here. Additionally, you guys can turn off groups. I don't know if there's any vehicles in this mission. Doesn't look like it. Well, we can tell by the group, right? Yeah, I don't see any vehicles. No planes, nothing. Yeah, nothing. Well, that's kind of a bummer. I always like seeing vehicles. Oh, and we got to the end. So I mean, you can turn off locations. You can turn off anchors, which I don't know if any of you guys even know about. You can hide the grid. You can. There's not really many markers in this, is there? Well, I guess there's the zone, right? The zone's a marker, so you can hide that. If there were vehicles, you could hide those. You can. I'm going to hide the groups here just to show the units. So here's a couple of independents. You can hide the units if you really want to. So there's a lot of control that you have over this. What else might you guys not know? Now that I've showed you how this replay works, so you can pause the replay, go back, and you can play it again if you really want to. While I got you here, let me show you guys a couple other things. So here's the locations that are in the map. I know that a couple of you guys have found that. Maybe some of you haven't. This anchors thing is pretty interesting. So let's say there's an important area, that I want to keep track of. And we'll call it, I don't know, here. This spot. And I'm going to use the map to pick it. I'm going to add it. So I've created a little anchor for that spot. I can click on it, and I can track it. Okay, so I'm not really following anyone, am I? Oh, okay, it defaulted to the bus player. Okay, so if I'm following Bus, unless I'm actually in game, this will kind of always have a line to that anchor to let you have some sort of frame of reference to that position. So if you're going to pick up somebody, you can create an anchor at their location, and then you'll have a line that shows you where you are in comparison to them. Additionally, let's disable the tracking here, and I'm going to unfollow that. don't know if you guys notice this or not too, but these tracking lines are where their next waypoint is. Okay, and the longer the little segments are, the further away they are. The closer they are, the shorter the segments are. So just something else to show you guys there too. You know, it's the little things. So yeah, that's Athena AAR in a nutshell. I think you guys will like it. Those of you guys that like Athena, I know that there are people that don't, and that they prefer, you know, a web-enabled solution. I'm not interested in providing a web-enabled solution. I'm interested in Athena and the Athena desktop application. And for those of you guys that like this solution, you know, you will very soon have an AAR function. Okay. All right, guys. I hope you liked it, and you know how to reach me.